Self-publishing is changing. No more gatekeepers. No more barriers. No one standing between you and your readers. This is the Self-Publishing Show. There's never been a better time to be a writer.
Hello and welcome to the Self-Publishing Show with me, James Blatch. Happy Friday to you if you're listening to this on release day. If you're watching it on YouTube, I apologise for my sweaty appearance. I have just been for a run. It's busy time. I need to record the podcast and then maybe even have some dinner. A little insight into my day. So why is it so busy at the moment? We've got our conference bearing down on top of us 3 weeks away from where I'm sitting now. Vinci Books is crazy busy at the moment, which brings me on to my first little point to mention today, which is that Vinci Books is recruiting. We're looking for somebody to work, basically an indie author who knows the indie world inside out and can join the team, somebody who can add a bit of rocket power to our marketing effort, but principally you'll be looking after the bookshelf, getting books online, uploaded to KDP, organising blurbs, organising keyword research, doing some keyword research and all that stuff. And you need to be familiar, I think, with the environment. So if I say book funnel, you know what I'm talking about, which I know is most of you listen to this. So it is a full-time position. We are looking for somebody most likely based in the UK at first anyway. I suppose there's a possibility if we split the job in two and did two part-timers, somebody could be in the States. So maybe we won't rule that out. But anyway, we're looking for the right person. That's the key thing for us. We're going to be a growing company. There is investment in the company. There's a team now. Authors are coming on board and we're wanting to focus. I want to focus on the digital advertising side. And at the moment, I'm spending a lot of time uploading books to Amazon and organising the transfer of titles. So that's the key job that you'll be doing when you come in. Should you be interested in that? If you are interested in it, we've got a PDF we can send out to you with a lot more detail than I've gone into here. Find out if it's the right fit for you. If you just drop an email to jed.cope, C-O-P-E, jed, J-E-D.cope, C-O-P-E, at vinci-books.com. Jed will send out the PDF and maybe we'll have a chat in the near future. Yes, the other thing happening at the moment is we have a course launch at the moment. So Launchpad is open probably for the last time this year, to be honest, the way things are going. I'm just so busy at the moment and we need to make sure that the students who have been enrolling, and lots of people have been in the last couple of weeks, that they are seen through the course properly. So Launchpad is your foundation course, get everything in place, handhold you through the complex process of mailing list funnels and formatting and everything else, all the way to running your first ads to sell your book. And that is available at learnselfpublishing.com/launchpad. You have until Wednesday midnight to sign up. And then that closes, like I say, for the rest of the year until 2025. So Wednesday midnight on that front. Now, the show, I'm going to talk a little bit about the logistics of the show. I know not everyone listening to this is coming to the show, but lots of you are. So for those of you who are coming, I'm going to tell you a little bit about how it's going to work. And if you're still on the shelf, you're not on the shelf, you're on the fence. If you're still on the fence about coming, there is another deadline you need to be aware of. We are going to stop selling tickets on the 21st of June. So that is deadline day, which allows us then to organise with the accurate numbers for the actual conference. So 21st of June is the last day you will have to buy a ticket to SPF Live. If there's SPS Live, if there are some tickets available, there should be at the moment, but can't guarantee it. But 21st will be deadline day. And of course, if you want to buy a ticket, it's learnselfpublishing.com/SPS Live. So what's going to be happening? Well, first of all, it is taking place at the South Bank Centre, the Queen Elizabeth Hall on London's South Bank, which is sort of diagonally opposite the Houses of Parliament. It's within easy walking distance of Covent Garden, of Soho, of the West End, of Trafalgar Square, and all those places. It's an absolutely fantastic location. It's a really vibrant part of London now, lots of street food and all that stuff going on, and lots of coffee shops and bars there as well. So you won't run out of places to go. And a really, really nice venue. We love the venue. It's a single track. So there'll be no choices about going to see this session against that session. Everyone's going to be in the same room at the same time, listening to the same thing. This is unique to our conference, I think, and something I really like about it. Doors will open at 8 a.m. on the 25th. That's Tuesday, the 25th of June. That'll be the earliest entry. We'll get going about 9:15, I think. So you've got a bit of time to arrive. The first day will finish at 5:15. But then we have the party, the self-publishing party. So that is going to be in the evening from 7 p.m. until I think it's 11 we get thrown out. Buster Birch provided the music, fantastic band. Hopefully won't call me up to dance, not to dance, to sing like they did last year. Well, didn't turn out to be too bad. And I'd had a couple of drinks at that point, so it's probably okay. I might try and nominate someone else this year. If you were there, you'll know what I'm talking about. So that is day one, so the party in the evening. Hopefully it'll be warm. We've not had a great year so far, sun-wise. We had a nice, warm, sunny day yesterday, but they're few and far between at the moment. But hopefully in 3 weeks' time, it's the middle of June, Wimbledon will be going, we will have a nice sunny evening so we can stand outside. We should also mention, if you're English or Scottish, you may be interested in the Euros that are taking place at the time, and that's the European Football Championship, so soccer to our American friends. England are involved in it. It is the final England group game that evening, I think at 8 p.m. So we are going to put some screens on. Hopefully, England will have done enough at that point to have qualified for the knockout stage of the tournament. But just in case it's a nail-biting game, there will be screens there, so you won't miss the game in the evening as well. Okay, that's day one. Day two, Wednesday, the 26th of June. Registration opens at 8:15 a.m. and the conference closes at 4:40, which gives us enough time to clear out. Quite strict deadlines on our contract there, so we do need to clear out on time. Right, what do you need to bring with you? The only thing you really need to bring with you is a QR code. We have a little grab bag. You get a little tote bag. I don't think I've got any here. I might have an old one from last year somewhere. But you've got a little tote bag. There'll be a pad in there and a pen. I think you can make some notes. So you don't need to bring too much with you, but your QR code, which if you've got a ticket already, you should have emailed to you, but you can log into your account at RegFox to get that. If you haven't bought your ticket yet, don't worry. All of this will become clear once you buy your ticket. Who's going to be at the show? We've talked about some of the guests in the past. So let me remind you, E.L. James and Lucy Score will be there. Looking forward very much to chatting to them. I've been in touch with them this week about how that session is going to go. We are definitely going to ask them about story ideas and plotting and structure and inspiration and writing. Do they use Scrivener? Whatever, as well as lots of other authors. And it won't just be those big 6, 7 figures, 7-figure authors, maybe even more than that. Many figure authors, E.L. James and Lucy Score. It won't just be at the top end, although it's really brilliant to hear from them. It'll also be authors who make 50, 60, 70,000 pounds a year in dollars, enough to quit their 9 to 5. And that's a really important area. So there'll be a panel specifically on that organized by Amazon. And I think that will be of great interest to us as well to learn from them. We'll also have people like Steve Higgs and Craig Martell, and lots of inspiration, lots of actionable insights. That's what we go for all the time. A lot of focus on audio this year as well. I'm going to be talking about AI, my pet subject. You can get the up-to-date timing and schedule and lots of other things at our FAQ page, which is learnselfpublishing.com/SPSFAQ, all one word, not really a word. learnselfpublishing.com/SPSFAQ. Now, in addition to the speakers on stage, there's also going to be an opportunity to meet some of the service providers who provide things that we use in our everyday author lives. So you probably use a lot of these services already, in which case you can go and meet the people behind them. And if you don't use them yet, you might want to have a chat with people and find out what their services are and whether it's something you might end up using. So here is a full list of the service providers who are going to be there. Amazon KDP, of course, are going to be there, along with Audible, ACX, Pro Writing Aid, Readsy, Google Books, Draft2Digital, Digital Authors Toolkit, BookFunnel, Vellum, Publish Drive, BookVault, BookBub, Findaway Voices by Spotify, Dibbly, Pocket FM, WF Howls, Written Word Media, MerchJar, Google, as in Google Play, and Kevin Anderson and Associates. More about them in just a moment. And of course, Learn Self-Publishing will be there as well. You can learn about our courses. And there will be a sneaky little discount for people who have turned up to the conference if they want to buy a course while we're there. I also want to say a huge thank you to Podium Audio, who I don't think are going to be there in person, but they are part of the service side of the conference, and they've helped put on the conference. Frankly, it's what we do with our service providers. They will muck in with sponsorship, and that enables us to stage the conference on the grand scale that it takes place. So yeah, go and have a chat with those people. MerchJar, who are the last people in to have a physical presence at the conference, are going to be at the party, which seems very appropriate if you know Scott from Merch Jar. Cameron, rather, I should say. Cameron Scott. Scott, I always get confused when there's two first names. Cameron. I've hung out in various places with Cameron, and he's a super nice guy. And I think him being at the party with a little stand by himself will be perfect. So please go and speak to Cameron from Merch Jar. And by the way, I'm a big fan of Merch Jar. If you're running Amazon ads, you need to have a conversation with Cameron Scott. I promise you, you won't regret it. Okay, if you're still to get tickets, I've given away that link already, SPS Live, food, refreshments, coats, accessibility. There's brilliant array of good coffee and good beer and good drinking and good food all around South Bank, just outside the front door of the venue. So don't worry about that. Of course, we will provide tea and coffee and stuff, but if you're like me and a bit snobby, you might want to go outside to get a nice cappuccino rather than the coffee in the foyer, but it will be there free of charge in there, of course. There's even a cloakroom available. So if you do bring some stuff and you want to drop off a bag or a coat, a small bag or a coat, you can do that as well. You don't have to lug it around all day. If you've got any accessibility requests, would be really good to hear from you in advance. And obviously it's an accessible venue. It's just good for us to plan and to make sure that there's somebody there waiting for you and knows what sort of parts of the accessibility accoutrement are going to be used. So you can drop us a line at support@selfpublishingformula.com. That would be great. And finally, we want the show to be safe and welcoming, I should say. And so there will be plenty of people there who can make sure that happens. So if you've got any issues, we'll help you deal with that. They'll be wearing bright yellow T-shirts, and they love those T-shirts, believe me. Okay, so that is it. We'll be standing on the bank of the Thames looking out towards the Houses of Parliament before you know it, in the middle of that show. It's going to be a special one this year. I can't wait to see you there, and do come and say hello to me. If you think you're shy or I'm unapproachable, I'm not. I'm very approachable. It's a bit like your wedding day for the organisers on these events. It all sort of goes by in a blur, but that is no reason for not saying hello to me. So it'd be lovely to talk to you. Okay, I told you I was going to say something a little bit more about Kevin Anderson & Associates. If you don't know who they are, you might have recognised a lot of those other names from the list of service providers. But Kevin Anderson & Associates is an editing agency, effectively, to get a bank of editors and book coaches who can help you write your book and get it from your draft to publication point. Kevin Anderson, not to be confused with the brilliant sci-fi writer Kevin J. Anderson. It's an American company that has a UK presence that's being headed up by Suzy K Quinn and Adam Strange, and they are our guests today. So we're going to talk to Suzy and Adam a bit about editing, a bit about their service, and a bit about the whole approach to editing that we should be following. They're going to be at the conference as well, of course, as I said, but let's hear from them now, and then I shall be back for a quick chat at the end of the interview.
This is the Self-Publishing Show. There's never been a better time to be a writer.
Adam Strange, Suzy K Quinn from Kevin Anderson and Associates. Is that right? Or is it Kevin Anderson Associates?
And Associates.
And Associates.
Are you the Associates?
I believe we are. The Associates.
Two of many.
And we should say, because it confused me at first, unrelated to Kevin Anderson, the sci-fi writer, whose books I read as a kid and met at 20 Books a couple of years ago. Not the same Kevin Anderson.
Not the same Kevin Anderson. No.
He's busy working on June projects at the moment. Okay, look, we're going to be talking a bit about who you are, what services you offer, but also I'd like to talk a bit about storytelling, because I know both of you, this is your area you have a lot of experience in. But who wants to go first and tell me about KA&A?
Oh, shall I go first, Adam? What do you think?
Why not? Go for it.
KA&A, which is really hard to say, isn't it?
Yes.
I struggle with that. I think that our American friends, it trots off the tongue a bit easier. So Kevin Anderson & Associates, we're a ghostwriting and editorial agency. So they're a big agency in the States. They take on really successful publishing editors like Adam, and they've got a huge team in the States, and they're doing very, very well. So we're opening up their London office, which is, the model is basically bringing in really good talent from publishing and opening it up so anyone can access that talent. So basically, whereas before the only way to access Adam would have been to get a publishing contract, which is not always, and it's not always about whether it's easy to get either. It's just about the competition and only so many spaces for Adam's time. Now, with Kevin Anderson, anyone is able to hire a New York Times bestselling or Sunday Times bestselling editor for their manuscripts. And we also do ghostwriting, but that's probably less interesting to your authors.
I don't know. Some of them are very busy. They always do with a bit of help knocking out another series. Okay, so it's effectively it's a marketplace for editorial talent.
Yes, that would make sense. Yeah, but it's all in house, so we don't do any freelancing.
Okay.
We don't have freelance editors. We have them. They're on the staff, so we kind of ring fence them so no one else can use them, basically.
And how does that work? So if I went to you with a book, would I choose the individual editor, or would you take on the book and then decide within your group who's best suited to do this, and you basically give me the edit back?
Well, it could be either, really. We do have authors who look on the website and they look at the team, and we've got many sort of different skill sets within the team. So we've got editors who have had massive success with business books. We've got Adam, who's a bit of an all-rounder, so he's done a bit of everything, and had Sunday Times #1s, and he's good for the UK market. You know, he knows the UK publishing industry. He's on our time zone. And then we've got sort of, how many editors is it, Adam? We should know this, shouldn't we? 19?
Between 18 and 20, yeah.
Between 18 and 20, yeah. So, and they've all got different kind of talents and books that they've worked on. So we have Tanner French's editor, or if someone's on the sort of non-fiction side, we have Roger Skoll did The Lean Startup and Rich Dad Poor Dad. So you can hire the editors who worked on those books and kind of, bring in some of that talent on your team.
There's usually a fairly obvious fit because we've got that breadth of editorial kind of experience. We can all reel off, I worked on X book, Y book, Z book, when the internal team is sort of saying, has anybody worked on this kind of thing before? There'll be 2 or 3 candidates from the team. Yeah, well, I've done the market leading book in that area, so I might be the relevant person.
And so are both of you editing? Suzy, you edit as well as Adam, or you have a different role in the company?
Well, very counterintuitively, I'm not editing or writing. I'm not doing either. I'm just setting up the strategizing and it's fun stuff for me because I'm a nerd. But and I have to say that I did have a conversation with Kevin at the beginning. If some really fun ghostwriting project came along, could I do it? And so, yeah, I might do that as well.
Might be something then.
Yeah.
And what Suzy's not saying is that her experience, her vast amount of experience in the writing and her editorial work as well brings to bear is that she's a really good person for potential authors who we want to work with or who want to work with us to speak to in the first instance, because she can give them an overview of what we might think might be suitable for their manuscript with knowledge behind her kind of thing. She's very authoritative and knowledgeable in that kind of area. So yeah, as somebody to sort of bring an author in a comfortable kind of way for them, she's ideal for that.
She is authoritative and knowledgeable. Can confirm. Story checks out.
I think I am.
So Adam, you're at the coalface. Then you're actually editing. Suzy described you as an all-rounder. Is there a preference you have?
Not really, to be honest, James. It's sort of what I've found over the, so my experience in the trade was always on non-fiction predominantly, almost exclusively. So I would work on anything from your sports person's autobiography through to the TV tie-ins, through to popular history, popular science, humour books, all sorts of cookery, the whole sort of wide range of stuff. And that's what that range point was really what I enjoyed in the trade and still enjoy now in my role here as well. It's there's something of interest to be found in pretty much any manuscript that comes across my desk, and I'm always learning, and that's what I love about it. So I don't think I'd enjoy the job so much if I say solely did business books or solely did sports books, for example. I often talk of myself as being intelligent but relatively ignorant. So there's always, that love being surprised. I love being, prompted to think a little bit differently about the world, or find out something that I didn't know before. So an all-rounder suits me fine.
Yeah, those sports books, they fascinate me because they are generally ghostwritten, and the kind of David Beckham, Ryan Giggs books. I remember Private Eye famously described them years ago as books for people who don't read books.
Yeah.
And they're sold at Christmas, aren't they? And their granny will buy the son the book because he loves his football, but probably doesn't read books and won't read this autobiography. But actually, every now and again you get these utter gems like Andre Agassi's. Yeah. I can still remember almost every page of that book. It was the most astounding autobiography I've read.
Yeah, it was, and that's was one of those exceptions where the author was willing to stick his head above the parapet and actually really, really expose his inner kind of turmoil and the struggles of his life, which, sadly, some books in that sports arena, celebrity arena, don't tend to deliver so much, or occasionally don't deliver so much. But to your point about, the nephew or grandson or grandchild who will get given that book, I always think that, because I've always operated in the very commercial end of non-fiction, those books that are bought as a gift once a year, or those books that are bought by people who will only buy one book a year. And honestly, I really fervently believe that just getting somebody to read a few pages of one book a year is a good thing. It reminds them that books are there in their world, and at some point they might pick up another one. It keeps a presence, however little or however small, of literature in their world. But yeah, the ones that I've always enjoyed working on are the ones where somebody's got a lot to say. I worked on the published book by the cricketer Kevin Peterson many years ago, and that was notorious for the lengths that he wanted to go to express his opinions, should we say?
Yes,
it was great. It was great.
Well, he was such a shy man who very rarely expressed his opinions, wasn't he? So it's unusual that he did that in the book.
It was remarkable. We weren't expecting it from that.
No. Book. For everyone in America, no idea who we're talking about, but I'm trying to think of an equivalent.
Carries no weight in the States.
Yeah, no, but a cricketer who thought a lot of himself and not so much of almost everyone else around him. But brilliant. England's best batsman, who we just stopped using because he became too difficult to have in the changing room.
Absolutely.
Enough cricket chat. Okay, so we've got authors listening to this. You see a lot of manuscripts going through your organisation every day. Should we talk about some tips, some things people get wrong, sort of best foot forward in terms of commercial writing? Suzy's might be your area. What would you say to somebody who said, I've got this great idea for a book? What normally happens is they describe some lofty literary idea, don't they? It's about a boy who doesn't know he's a robot or something like that, but they don't know why people buy and read books, which is kind of your speciality.
Well, nice of you to say so, James. Thank you so much. So I did the same thing when I wrote my first book. If someone said, what's it about? I'd say, well, it's about a girl who's gone to Japan and she's part of the hostess industry, but then it's also about a geisha, and it's about 1970s Japan, and it's about this, and at the end, and it's about sort of coming back. You sort of try to do everything as a new author often, without really realizing that simple is the best thing. And so in terms of tips, I would say having a really, really clear, you could hook someone really quickly with your story, and they want to hear more rather than you telling them more. Rather than we've all had those conversations about our books. You can see someone's sort of eyes glaze over. You start telling them about what your book's about, and they kind of go, oh, okay. And so you're sort of giving them more information. It's if you can do it the other way around, and you can say a sentence and then just be quiet, and then they ask for more. You're in a good place with that book.
So high concept, as they call it in Hollywood, a sort of single sentence that says what this book is.
Yeah. Good way to put it.
So that's your starting point, and then you get into the writing side of things. And I write thrillers, and I read not a lot, but I do read the kind of James Pattersons when they come out, and the Ludlums in the past, and so on.
And somewhat did, James.
Yeah. Well, I can't be the only person reading James Patterson because he is the world's best-selling author. So me and others, but his books are I would say simple in terms of the way they're put together. They're short chapters. At the end of almost every chapter, the last sentence is, and then somebody went, ugh, and you have to turn the page and start the next chapter. Otherwise, you don't know what happened when the arrow went into their head or whatever. And that is, I mean, it's the world's best-selling author, I believe, at the moment. And it's simplicity itself, the way these books are put together, which kind of backs up what you're saying. Don't overcomplicate things, which I think new authors almost universally tend to do.
Yeah. And I would just say as well that I think you've gone a step too far forward, really, James, when it comes to and the cliffhanger at the end of every chapter is a great device. But before you get to that, you really need to have strategized in terms of outlining your book, in terms of making sure that you know. I mean, there are a few authors, and well, you'll speak to quite a lot of authors who might say, or aspiring authors who might say, I just write. I just sort of start writing and I just see where it's going to take me. And I don't really, I'll get to the end. When I get to the end, it's kind of, they very rarely come up with a book that is brilliantly coherent and tightly written, just off the bat like that. I think, to have that clear structure and that clear outline is absolutely imperative, and then keep referring back to it. Deviate a little bit from those train tracks if you want to, but always come back to, right, what is going to happen in this next chapter? Because I mustn't forget that I need to get to this point at some point soon, and I'm actually going to get to it by chapter 17. Okay, everything's all right. That's the kind of thing that I find is sometimes forgotten by people.
Yeah. I completely agree. In fact, it was a big, because there's a big debate in writing in these circles about pants versus plotters. See to your pants writing or plotting it out. But I agree with you, Adam, and I'm happy to say this. I think the people who do pants just have a mind that happens to be able to hold all that information in. Mine doesn't work like that. If I don't plot it, I'm a bit lost, and actually I stop writing because I don't really know where I'm going. Plotting is absolutely key for me, and I believe it is for everyone. It's just you might happen to have, like Marie Force says, she sits down. What's his name? Jack Reacher. Lee Child says he sits down on the 1st of September and the book for. But if he writes a book a year, you're not telling me he spent 6 months refining this to the point where he sits down on the 1st of September. It's plotted in his mind. So he's plotting. He's not pantsing. Marie Force is probably plotting as well because she thinks it through.
And they've been doing it, but also they've been doing it so long, and I'm thinking specifically sort of debut authors as well. Yes. I mean, it's all very well doing that when this is your 18th book or whatever, to begin with. Well,
it'll be interesting to know how Andrew Child writes, because he now writes them, I believe, and I suspect he and Lee have a few pages written out of what's going to be in this book, which is plotting. And also, I found, Suzy, I don't know if you found this, how you write your books, but I found when I decided to embrace plotting, it gave me the freedom to enjoy writing again, because for me, I knew where I was going in this chapter, and I had the joyous job of simply writing it, rather than sitting there think, oh, what's happening next? I can't write myself into a corner here.
Yeah, I think it's also good as well for people who, a lot of people, when they start out writing, they have another job that they're doing at the same time. So I think it's really hard to not, if you've got the plot there already and you know what you're writing each day, it makes it so much easier to sit down at your desk and carry on. Whereas if you are just sitting there every day and then just writing, at one point you're going to get yourself really stuck, usually, unless you're a genius, which, well done if you are.
Do you either of you have any particular sort of plotting books or courses and stuff that you'd recommend? Actually, we do have a course we recommend to us, Suzy, which we should mention in a moment. But kill the cat, save the cat. Don't kill the cat, save the cat. For instance, any in particular that you'd recommend?
Shall I answer this one? I'm conscious of jumping. I mean, Save the Cat, I think is really good. I think there's a book called The 7 Basic Plots, which is amazing. It's sort of 20 books in one. I can't gesture on a podcast, but if you imagine my hands, they're spread very, very wide to signify a very large book. What else? There's another one. I want to say William Goldman. I want to say it's a scripting book.
Is that Into the Woods?
I don't think so. It's called something really simple, like, script or something. But someone out there is going to know that and message me, please, and let me know which one it is. Yeah, I'll find it out afterwards and add it. You can add it to the comments.
Into the Woods is one that I would recommend. That's a book about stories by John York. Sorry, I've just looked it up. And then also, funnily enough, I have it here today. There's Stephen King memoir on writing.
On writing,
yeah, I love that book. Yeah,
there's a whole. I mean, I think what we're saying is there are tons. There are quite a lot out there, and it's kind of whatever sort of floats your boat, really.
By the way, we're meeting John York in a few weeks, Adam. I forgot to tell you that.
Oh, how exciting!
Yeah, because we're talking about potentially courses and things. So yeah, that's going to be interesting.
Brilliant. Heard it here first.
Yeah, exactly.
Shall we plug your course, Suzy? We should plug your course. Are we allowed to do that? You're crossing the streams, I know, in your various
I'm crossing the streams a bit, even though my course is brilliant and the best writing course you could ever do. I feel, we're here to talk about KA&A, so I feel I'm kind of like, I'm muddying someone give me an analogy there. Adam, what am I doing? What happened in Ghostbusters?
I tell you what, Suzy, it's my podcast, so I'm going to overrule and say that we can mention that Suzy has a brilliant course called How to Write a Bestseller that sets out in detail the kind of structured process and the key things that you've noticed over your time of why some books sell, excuse me, and some books don't. So if you head to learnselfpublishing.com/bestseller, you can have a look at everything that's in that course. There you go. Plug done. And it is a brilliant course, and I recommend it not just because it's part of our stable, but I recommend it to anyone getting going with writing.
It was in itself a best-selling course as well. It's still kind of
exactly.
Still sells, of course, but
very meta.
Yeah.
Okay, so the editorial services. Let's talk about that. So some people, particularly new into writing, may not know the stages that you go through. I'm still at the point. In fact, I didn't use a developmental editor on my last book, my third book. Sort of felt it. There was a novella as well. I'm umming about whether I do my next one or not. But development editing is the first editor. In fact, if you want to take a step back from that, I don't know if you offer book coaching, which is kind of whilst you're writing your book. I found that incredibly helpful for book one.
I love book coaching, as being a book coach. It's from a selfish job satisfaction perspective. It really delivers. It's great. We spend a lot of time at the outset of that process, strategizing again. Sorry to use that word, but ultimately we want people to read these books, and that's vital. And that is essentially sitting down with the author, and me sitting down with the author, or another editor sitting down with the author, spending sort of 8 to 12 hours across a number of different sessions, working out, right, who is this book for? What are the 7 key messages? What are the 3 key messages? What's the one most important message? How are we going to deliver that? In what tone of voice? What other kind of books are people reading who might want to read your book as well? How are we going to then position this book? Where would it sit in the marketplace? All of these things that a publishing house would actually look at as well. You do that, and you do that critical element of the outlining and structuring, which I've talked about already. And then we're off, and then the author's off at the races. They'll write the first chunk of their material. They'll deliver it back to me. I'll give it a very heavy edit, and sort of say, pointing out that we said we'd try and do this. You're doing it brilliantly here. You're not doing it so well here. You could do with a bit more work on this kind of area. How about, this is something we hadn't talked about. We can explore it more, etc., etc. So a load of notes come back with that first amount of material. The next chunk of material comes in from the author. Sorry, without going into too much detail, the author doesn't take in those changes at that point. They then continue writing, but having absorbed that detail, all of those suggestions, recommendations from me. Next batch of material I get back from them, they will have fewer queries in the margins from me because they will have picked up some of the stuff that I pointed out in that first batch of material, and so on and so forth. So by the time I get that final batch of material, the final chunk of text from their manuscript, it is flawless in theory. So essentially that we have reached a point in their journey where they are a confident and very competent writer. And it's brilliant. It's lovely to have helped somebody gain that confidence and technical ability, if you like, to write really engaging writing.
I was going to say it's like a really, really good creative writing course, but it's less expensive and it's quicker, and you get a one-on-one kind of editor with you. But I've done loads of creative writing courses, and I'm not sort of against them per se, because you always learn something. But there's the fast way to do things, and there's the slow way.
Yeah.
And I would say definitely,
It's
had I had my time again, having a book coach is whoosh, is much faster. As someone who's worked within publishing and can see you through it, is a good way to go.
It's an on the job kind of version of that, isn't it? Which is, how they get people into a lot of professions these days, and moving that way, and teaching in particular, I think. I completely agree. And I think this is something that the trad industry has done well, not for its first author, for the beginning of their career, because at the beginning of the career, you write this, traditionally, you just write this book in the dark, no clue, you never speak to anyone. Then you send it out as a manuscript. But once you're into a publishing house, that's something I think trad have done well, because they'll sit and have an early conversation about book 2, and all those questions Adam just outlined, what's it about, what are you trying to say here, and then they start the process. Whereas indies never get that. You're always sort of by yourself. So having a book coach, I use Jenny Nash in the States. I found it absolutely invaluable, and it was probably worth more than several creative writing courses for me. And to fund, when they get back to you every week about a scene, saying the same things about, where's the meaning in the scene, and what's this scene doing, all the rest of it. That eventually is a brilliant way of reinforcing it, because you can tell someone something once on a creative writing course, but when you're told it 37 times in a row in your chapter writing, it sinks in. I think it's a great way of doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. And about your own writing as well, because we've all got our own little, things that we do that we don't. Oh, you don't expand characters enough, or you don't, or you overdo these scenes, or whatever the thing is. And may I say that Adam's great at that. He's such a nurturing editor. Obviously, he's had all the kind of successes and many Sunday Times bestsellers and all of that. But as a human being, just spending time with him and being edited by him is a really, really nice experience. He's a nice sort of kind person to be around. So it's not like, sometimes being edited is difficult, and so you kind of want someone who actually cares and is trying to bring out the best of you, rather than to put onto you what they think is the best thing.
Yeah. You never want an editor kind of showing off your knowledge. You want it to feel like a collaborative experience, and that's when it works best. Just technically, so when you're right, Adam did cut out for you and me, Suzy. But that's right. This system we've got here should record Adam locally, so when it all comes out, it should not have any cuts. So that's the theory. So there would have been a little bit of talking over in the middle of it, but Anyway, that's an aside. I'll find out in about 5 minutes whether that's worked or not. Can you tell us a bit about how to access the services, and maybe give us an idea of cost? Adam, maybe for you, or Suzy? You're the strategist.
Or Adam, you could go either way. But so how to access the services? One of the nice things about the service as well is you can choose from, a US editors as well as UK editors. So you'd go on the website, you'd have a look at the editors, and you'd think, okay, I can pick one of these people for my team, right? That's amazing. And by the way, in publishing, having been traditionally published and self-published, there are editors and there are editors, and I've had both, and you can't pick them. But with KA&A, you can go on and choose who you want to be your team member. So it's not an inexpensive service. It's definitely the higher ticket of editing rates. I would say you're looking at between, say, 3,000 and 8,000, depending on the editor you pick and depending on the length of your manuscript. So it's definitely, on the higher level of editing services, but you get what you pay for. And if you want to be in the kind of the energy of the big success, you hire the best coach, right? When you're playing golf, you don't go cheap on that. You go for the best one, because you want to have the big success, and you want to have the person that's experienced that success and seen Sunday Times bestsellers and seen all this kind of thing happening. So they'd access our services by either scheduling a consultation with us on the website. You can schedule a consultation. It's a free publishing consultation. And you can also send your manuscript for a free assessment by our former literary agent, Adrienne, who's in-house with us. And she'll give you a kind of sort of a skim read free assessment of the manuscript. It's not particularly detailed, but it's a kind of like inroad into our services. So you do get some free assessment there. So Adam, since I've hogged all the airspace for a long time, is there anything you'd like to add?
No, you covered all of that, and I'm still, for some reason, I'm having technical glitches as well. Sorry about that, James.
That's all right, no problem.
Okay.
Like I say, we should hear everything you said, one way or another. Brilliant. Okay, and you're both going to be at the conference in June. So, God, it's a month's time now. It'll be less than a month by the time this
Wow.
interview goes out, which is scary for the organising side of things. But and people presumably can come and have a chat.
Oh, we'd love that. We both. I'm talking for Adam here, but I know Adam likes human beings. So we absolutely love that. And so we're talking at the conference, and then we've also got a stand there, so we'll be hanging around, and we can talk to anyone about their manuscripts. We're very happy to talk about where they are in their self-publishing journey, any sort of tips on that, and just general kind of editorial stuff. We're very, very happy to talk about. So come talk to us at SPF. We'd love to see you.
Absolutely, and between us, we've got experience across the author side and the publishing side and the agenting side as well. So any random question, I don't know, I'm throwing out a challenge to us both here, Suzy. I reckon we can probably pretty much answer any question that anybody's got. So
we can answer any question. And I forget that about you, Adam. Adam has also been a literary agent, so he's also got very good advice. Should you be straddling the kind of, I know we're self-publishing and that's wonderful and great, but authors also often have in their head that they'd also like to try publishing. So he'll be great advice on how to get a literary agent or whether you should get a literary agent, So
finally, someone better tell us where we can find you online.
The website at the moment, I mean, the UK specific website is going online very soon. But for now, KA-writing.com should take you to everything you need to know about us.
KA, just the one A.
KA-writing.com.
KA-writing.com.
We'll get there.
Yeah, it should take you to the website, and you can get a free publishing consultation with me on the website, and you can have your manuscript assessed. So it's an easy link in there.
Brilliant. Well, we'll get that link onto the show notes anyway. So it'll definitely be there, and most likely, I think the UK link will be live. I suspect by the time this goes out as well. So
yeah.
Okay, well, can't wait to see you on the South Bank next month. Thank you very much indeed, Adam and Suzy.
Thanks so much, James.
Lovely to see you.
This is the Self-Publishing Show. There's never been a better time to be a writer.
There you go. That was my first three-way using riverside.fm. I thought it worked really well. It looked a bit like Dallas, didn't it? The beginning of the Dallas program, if you're old enough to remember that, if you're watching on YouTube. But it was an absolute whiz to edit. Thank you very much, riverside.fm. Brilliant podcast recording software they have. Brilliant talking to Suzy and Adam. Can't wait to hear them. Suzy will do a great talk, as she always does on stage at SPS Live. And don't forget, you can pick up your ticket at learnselfpublishing.com. Remember that, because I'm not going to say that again, /SPS Live. And one other quick reminder that you can sign up for Launchpad. You have until Wednesday night to sign up for Launchpad if that's what you want to do. That is the same address, /Launchpad. You get a lot of information there. Find out whether it's a good fit for you. And don't forget, there's always a 30-day money-back guarantee. Okay, I think that's it. Might be time for my tea. All that remains for me to say is it's a goodbye from me. So goodbye.
Get show notes, the podcast archive, and free resources to boost your writing career at selfpublishingshow.com. Join our thriving Facebook group at selfpublishingshow.com/Facebook. Support the show at patreon.com/selfpublishingshow. And join us next week for more help and inspiration so that you can make your mark as a successful indie author. Publishing is changing, so get your words into the world and join the revolution with the Self-Publishing Show.